the Fresh Prince, I mean, this was kind of like the golden era in television where we had some really great sitcoms on that were culturally relevant,
Yes.
that we could connect to. And we've had these ebbs and flows. So we'll have like a period here and then it's like nothing. And then it comes back. And it's usually around us bolstering somebody's network. And they usually dump us afterwards after they get the numbers up.
Thank you.
You came into an interesting situation and the way they handled it, replacing characters.
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And like we say in the community, enough said.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna move on. I hear you. I'm gonna
But I
listen
mean,
to
that was the attitude. Yeah, okay. Yeah, she's different. Now, let's get going.
How did you, because there was an established character for you to come in and it was different but then seamless at the same time. What was your mentality coming in? Because this was not a character that you originated. So coming into this space.
I could only bring what I had to the space. I could not recreate what they had. And they weren't expecting me to. I think I benefited from the chemistry that I had with James Avery, who I fell in love with during the auditions. So, I mean, we just hit it off and we remained friends until the very, very end of his life. And it was respected. They respected the work that I had done on television for years and years and years. And they opened their arms and embraced me like I had been there from day one. It was really seamless.
WKRP in Cincinnati, Hill Street Blues, TJ Hooker, Cagney and Lacey. I mean, it's like it goes on. Frank's Place, of course.
Oh,
come on, tell me about that.
My heart. Oh, I was so proud of my husband and Hugh Wilson creating that show. It was so beautiful. And it had such an array of Black folk that have never been shown on TV before. And it was just such a loving, wonderfully, beautifully shot series. And it died with politics.
Explain that.
Somebody at the network who held the purse string said, I don't like them talking about me selling junk bonds. Cancel them.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
we just got some information on the show.
And we got the information from, who was it? Like Brinkley or somebody, some newscaster who was on the board. Very famous. I can't even think of who it was.
Wow.
But it was, that's why they said, we love that show. We got to meet Paley, who is the man who started television back in the 50s. He was the supreme head of CBS. And we got to be the last actors that he got to see up in his office. He invited us up there when we were in New York one time. It was an incredible experience. It was like being in the movie Network. He was sitting in front of a window, so he was backlit, and he had a fireplace in there and beautiful Monets and Gauguins all over his office. It was just glorious. And he sat down with my husband and said, okay, I love your show. I'd have been proud to have this show on the air when I was running the network.
Wow.
It's your propaganda. And Tim said, to show America a full range of my community.
That's right. A professor, Brown University. I mean, and this again, even Fresh Prince, a wealthy family, who lived in Bel Air, but were regular people. And, it's just, when I asked you about Tim during the break, you look like a schoolgirl when I said, how's he doing? And you giggled. And I was like, okay, the fire's still there.
Yes,
Miss Daphne.
All right. 40 years. It's not time for it to go out yet.
I love that. And we need to hear that too.
Oh, yeah.
Talk a little bit about that love story. Because I think as people, we don't celebrate that enough as well. Those bonds.
We came from other marriages, both of us, both divorced. I re-met him. I used to work with him in Chicago as we were models and doing commercials and things. I didn't pay no more attention to him than anybody else on the street. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I was divorced. And the bunch from Chicago used to hang out together, and he said, "Oh, did you remember Tim Reed?" And I'm going, vaguely. And he said, "Oh, well, I gave him your number. He's going to give you a call." I said, "Okay." So he called me and said, "Let's go have a drink, you know." And it was supposed to be a little 5-minute date because he was on his way somewhere. And I teased him because he had me meet him for a drink in what I consider a hooker bar.
Not hookah, not the smoking thing that they
Hookah.
do today.
No smoking.
Not hookah.
Hooker.
Hooker bar.
With a hard R.
R. And I was kind of, what is he expecting here? And we had a drink, and it lasted 5 hours. And we had breakfast together, and we've been together now 40 years from that day.
Mm, that's big.
Wow.
I got a question.
Yes.
So nowadays, like we're all familiar, well, a lot of us, with the inner workings of TV production and film production, because it's you know, back in the day, it used to be smoke and mirrors and very mysterious. So we know Tyler Perry. We know he has a studio, but few people know that you and your husband were one of the first people to open you know, the first Black-owned production studio. How does it make you feel to see what that has evolved into?
I'm happy for Tyler. He's a great businessman. I just wish he'd up his level a little bit in production, but he does it so that he makes money. I have no qualms with that. But we weren't even the first. We were the first in Virginia to build a full service film studio. But film studios by Black folks have been in existence since the 30s and 40s. We had the Johnson brothers, we had Oscar Michaud, we had a lot of work going on in New Jersey. Fort Greene, New Jersey had a studio, a Black studio. So we weren't the first, but we were the first contemporary ones, and we were the first ones in Virginia. And it was a beautiful 54-acre site, and Tyler's just a better business person than we were. We made some great projects, but the industry began changing right after we built the studio. We built it in 97.
Right.
And things started to be shot in Canada. And then a state would give some tax breaks to somebody to come shoot there. So we couldn't keep our clients because we couldn't get the legislature to do tax credits for film. So after about 17, 18 years, I said, "I've had enough. What about you?" And he said, "Okay." So it's gone.
Right. Wow.
But the legacy is there.
Content, because content is what's king.
Yes.
Yes.
And he's putting his stuff up on a new network a new streaming network, LGCY, which is short for Legacy. Legacy of a People Network.com. And he's got beautiful documentaries up there. He's got an institute where he trains filmmakers. So he's got filmmakers all over the world, and all of his former students are sending their projects in. So he gets work from London and Nigeria and South Africa and Ethiopia. And it's a great, great little network that he's building there. So it just launched about a month ago.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
Yeah, right. Content.
LGC.